It's Only Sport with Martin Devlin on the platform. Brought to you by One New Zealand. Let's get connected.
Come on, let's be positive. Just stop right there. No negativity. Let's be positive. LBP. Let's be positive.
LBP, let's be positive. We'll be positive about your Wallabies. Can you beat the All Blacks this weekend in Wellington? Got to be positive about Argentina. I mean, what a performance from Los Pumas, winning all three. Your girls decking us in the T20. No great surprise there. That's 10 straight losses for the White Ferns. Black Caps lost. NRL Final Four. Kick it off with your Wallabies, mate. Were you pleased or what at the end of that?
I wasn't pleased after the first 20 minutes.
No.
But by the end of the 80, I almost feel like we let that one get away, especially at that late in that second half where there were the two yellow cards which overlapped for a little bit. I thought, we're in here. And probably blew a couple of opportunities which could have given us the game. But look, on the return game after being absolutely pantsed, 50-point second half against Argentina, it was extremely surprising. I mean, there were a lot of good things about the way that the Wallabies certainly ran the ball and looked like we certainly, with a little bit more practice, I suppose, could have a reasonable team there. Look, it's hard to know exactly how good the All Blacks are at the moment because they seem a little, I don't know, a little undisciplined. There are a lot of penalties given away during the game and there's a lot of stop-start. But at the end of the day, as a sigh of relief, Scott Robinson said, we got there. And, he was proud of them for hanging on like they did, which, to be honest, they were certainly under the pump. Oh, I was swearing. I didn't even want to watch the rest of the game after the start. But I sat there with the wife and watched it, and our moods changed as the game went on. She started getting a bit grumpier, and I started getting a bit happier. And then, of course, she ended up with a smile on her face. But, I mean, I don't think many people would have predicted the Wallabies turn up like they did, and they certainly gave it a crack, but still lost.
Yeah, it's a bizarre one for the All Blacks, isn't it? Because, I mean, it's at times we look the best team in the world, and then at times we just look as though we don't have a bloody clue, and then you win it, and it felt a little unsatisfying at the end. Yet at the same time, we retained the Bledisloe Cup. You see what I mean? I'm going up and
exactly,
and didn't really feel like celebrating too much afterwards.
Yeah, but as we always say, you got to celebrate it because they did actually get that win, and it looked like they were going to give up the points to the Wallabies. So they got there in the end. I know it's always a little bit scratchy when you see a performance like that, but I suppose the positive thing is that when they needed to, they did dig deep and they defended well under plenty of pressure from the Wallabies, and. Well, I mean, it went right down to the last minute, didn't it? There was still only a penalty kick in it if anything had gone wrong. But that's how it is. Game 2 this weekend. Where's the game this weekend?
Wellington.
Yeah, Wellington. Look, I don't know. The Wallabies will have that in them again, and but you never know. Like I didn't think they had it in them last Saturday night.
NRL Final Four, mate. Are you surprised at all? It just seems that this is what it is every year, isn't it? The top 4 teams end up being the 4 teams that decide who's going to go to the grand final. And I don't think anyone can actually argue about that, Matt, because they won the most games in the round robin, which is are the most consistent teams. And when it comes to the knockout games, well, they've done what they've had to do to get back to this particular weekend to see whether or not they're actually good enough to beat the top 2 teams.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I don't think either of the 2 winning teams from the weekend, the Sharks or the Roosters, will go on to beat Melbourne or the Panthers. I mean, it feels like we'll get a 1-2 grand final. You never know. There could be a bit of a turn-up for the books, but neither of those sides seem to have that little extra bit of spark it's going to need to beat the top 2 sides, because Melbourne clearly the best team at the end of the points, or at the end of the round robin on points, well ahead. The Panthers really started to play very well towards the end of the season, and with Cleary back again in that first game, which gave them the week off, they looked terrific again. So, look, the story would be for the Panthers to win it again. but I feel like it's probably going to be Melbourne. Neither Manly or the Cowboys looked like they had it in them, and they were pretty well beaten in the end over the weekend. So, neither of those sides would have had a chance to make the grand final, I don't think. But you never know. The Roosters or the Sharks may, but I wouldn't be putting money on either of those sides.
Your T20 girls. Well, are you that good? Are we that bad? We can't buy a win at the moment, mate. 2-16 this year. One of those in a dead rubber. We lost the other one the other day by 29 runs, batting second, which I don't care who's playing T20. That's an absolute hiding. When you bat 20 overs, get 113 for 7. I mean, and yet there's no consequence to this team. It's just giggle fest, silver fern, girls are happy, culture's great. I just get so frustrated by the fact that no one is prepared to actually analyse and criticise a team whose performances are just so far below what they should be.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? But at the end of the day, when you look at the depth of where changes might be made, I don't think that there's anything really to be done. And look, that with the way that the coverage goes, most of the women's sides don't receive the criticism that maybe could put them in a better position to look at themselves and go forward. And it's a bit of a shambles for them, but it's no bigger a shambles than the women's football. And you messaged me about that this morning. New Zealand football have opened up on the saga, and yet we still have no idea what happened. Well,
how can be? This is what the ridiculous thing about this article. Blazing headline: Football Ferns, clear the air and break the silence. And then you read the article; it doesn't say anything. It just says a whole lot of anonymous people saying something happened. Well, until we know what happened, well, then there is no reality about how to react to it, because somebody's got to be brave enough here. Don't forget, New Zealand football cleared her and have put her back in her job. She's still hanging around the team and the organisation for the next 6 months. If it was something so serious that she deserved to be sacked, well, she'd be sacked, wouldn't she?
Yeah, well, I would have thought so. I mean, there's so many categories. What have they been calling it? An unsavoury incident or
inappropriate behaviour? I mean, what does that mean? I mean,
inappropriate behaviour. I was thinking,
if there was a guy, that reputation of that man would be forever gone. He would be cancelled, and that would be it. So if it's
you get to think a number of things, Martin. Was it physical? Was it verbal?
Yeah.
Was it a use of the wrong pronouns? Was it just a personal grievance between one of the players and the coach? Look, you can't. Who can make a judgment on this whatsoever? I mean, it's impossible to know whether the right thing happened. It's impossible to have any sort of idea about how you feel about it, to be honest, because we don't know anything about it. Inappropriate moment. I mean, I don't even know what that could be. I've been involved in plenty of them, and people normally point it out to you. The thing that does amaze me, though, is if it was as serious as it was, wouldn't someone have dropped the bomb?
Yeah.
Wouldn't there have been an insider, a friend of the team? Wouldn't have someone spoken on the condition of anonymity or something like that? I mean, look, to me, it sounds like it could have been quite petty, and they're all too embarrassed to actually put their hand up after the palaver that resulted.
And the fact that they are so poor and their results are so poor and their performances are so poor, to me, it has to be a bomb.
It's Only Sport with Martin Devlin on the platform. Brought to you by One New Zealand. Let's get connected.